Hi all, welcome to my channel again. So today we are going to discuss about the Kubernetes. So this is just an intro to the Kubernetes where I am going to discuss topics about what is a Kubernetes and why it is called KATES and benefits of KATES. Kubernetes architecture I will explain in this session, and also the control plane of the Kubernetes and the difference between kubectl and kubelets, and also the role of API server. All of these are important things for Kubernetes to learn. So in this session, I'm going to explain all of these things. So please watch until the end. And also, if you want to check out this blog, you can check that from this link, which I will be keeping in the description box. So from there, you can access this and you can check everything like line by line if you want. So let's start now. The first thing is, what is a Kubernetes? So Kubernetes is a container orchestration tool. So it is used for deployment and management of hundreds and thousands of containers in a cluster environment. For example, you all might have known about the Docker. So what it will do, it will create the containers out of the images that were built. So these container functionalities, everything will get managed by the Kubernetes. So for that purpose, we use the Kubernetes. Some advantages of this using the Kubernetes are host containerized workloads, providing them with computing, storage, and network resources, and also automatically it manages a large number of containerized applications, keeping them healthy available by adapting to changes and challenges. So if you separately want to manage these hundreds and thousands of containers at a time, it will be like a very hectic and a very difficult job for us. So in order to make it easier, we use the container orchestration tool, which is a Kubernetes, so that we can manage these hundreds and thousands of containers using this tool. Okay, so that is about the Kubernetes and why it is called KATES. So the word Kubernetes originates from the Greek. Okay, so meaning helmsman or pilot. So KATES as an abbreviation results from counting the 8 letters. If you see between K and S, there are 8 letters. Okay, so instead of saying the Kubernetes, we can just say K instead of 8 letters, 8 and the S. So KATES, that's how it got the name called KATES, and we called it as KATES in short form. So the benefits of KATES or Kubernetes is KATES provides whole the benefit of multi-cloud capability. So workload can be kept in a single cloud or spread across different cloud platforms. So that is one benefit, and it allows you to create great digital solutions at highly affordable prices to help you get better profits. So that is the second benefit, and the most stable this is the most stable platform for most complex solutions or applications. So the least of the concerns for people using Kubernetes, as the platform offers unmatched stability. And also it allows you to roll out updates easily and efficiently. And next is Kubernetes free and open source software that operates with the support of an extensive community, and the community around Kubernetes is huge. So this means many people have encountered and solved a lot of problems. So that's why you will easily find solutions to these problems documented online. And the next benefit is a container orchestration. Managing tens of thousands of containers must be accurate, stable, and reliable. Otherwise, many problems could pop up with such a huge army of containers. If you want to do anything separately for all the containers, like one by one, then it will be a huge task for you. So instead of that, we can use this Kubernetes in order to maintain these thousands of containers. And the level of automation that Kubernetes provides is impeccable. And Kubernetes offers many perks, but one of the most outstanding of these perks is that it makes very easy to scale horizontally, and also it eliminates the need for most manual processing. You can enhance productivity and drive results. Kubernetes automates many processes, making your business much more efficient. So these are some of the benefits of KEDS, and if you want to check out these all of this in more detail, you can check that from this blog. I will be keeping the link in the description box. From there you can access this. Next is the Kubernetes architecture. Okay. So in this architecture you can see we have master node and worker nodes and the developer. The developer interacts with this Kubernetes. This is the entire cluster, let's say, and the developer interacts with the API server first, and this API server will act as a mediator between the worker node and the developer. So whatever the request is going here, it will get stored here, as well as uh, it will get diverted to a worker nodes depending on the requirement. If it is busy, then it will push that request to this worker node. So depending on the node busyness, the API servers act accordingly. So what everything is explained detailedly here. So this is the API server. It acts as a front end for Kubernetes. Okay. The API server support update scaling and other kinds of lifestyle orchestration by providing APIs for various steps. So clients use API servers as a tunnel to pods, services and nodes and authenticate via the API server. So it acts as a mediator in simple words. And the etcd, the metadata of the Kubernetes will get stored in this etcd. So it is a key value store used by Kubernetes to store all the data used to manage the cluster. Okay. So next is a kubelet. It runs each node in the cluster. The agent is responsible to make sure that the containers are running on the nodes as expected. Here you can see kubelet. It runs on each node. When the API server is forwarding the request, it will forward that to the kubelet directly. So the agent is responsible to make sure that the containers are running on the nodes as expected. And the container runtime, each node runs and manages container lifecycle using a container runtime engine. So next is the controller. It is the brain behind the orchestration. It is responsible for noticing and responding when nodes, containers or endpoints go down. Okay, it will keep track of all of these things so that whenever it is go down, the controller make decision to bring up new containers in such cases. And the control plane, this is the control plane, you can say, the master node, which will be having the entire thing is called the control plane. So it is a platform where the Kubernetes architecture sits that controls the cluster. The control plane manages the and maintains the worker nodes that hold the containerized applications. Components are Kube API server, etcd, Kube scheduler, Kube controller manager, and cloud controller manager. So these are the parts of that. And the difference between kubectl and kubelets is that kubectl is the component that runs on all of the machines in your cluster and does things like starting pods and containers. Like a So this is about the kubelet, and about kubectl is the command line interface tool for working with Kubernetes cluster. Next is explain the role of the API server. Kubernetes API is the front end of the Kubernetes control plane and is how users interact with their Kubernetes cluster. So it is the interface used to manage, create and configure Kubernetes cluster. It's how the user's external components and parts of your cluster all communicate with each other. At the center of the Kubernetes control plane are the API server and the HTTP API that is exposes, allowing you to query and manipulate the state of Kubernetes objects. Okay, so that's all about the Kubernetes introduction. And if you want to check out this blog, you can check that from this link, which I will be keeping in the description box. And thanks for watching until then.